Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first off, what is going on and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's disgraceful to say the least. The fact that our customers are stuck in airports, are not able to get home to their loved ones. It's challenging to say the least.
Are you surprised to see this happening?
Actually, I'm not. This is something that we've been predicting and we've seen. I mean, we've dealt with this. We had a Columbus Day meltdown that was catastrophic. Not quite this catastrophic, but we've been seeing this for several years now.
Is this impacting your livelihood, the pilot's livelihood?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, our success is Southwest success, and if they don't succeed, we don't. This is devastating to our customers that ultimately support who we are and what we do.
So the big question here, what can be done about this? What needs to happen to fix all of this?
Well, as I said, we've seen more and more meltdowns coming more and more frequently with more and more severity. This one is just a capstone on what's continued to happen. This is a failure of leadership. It's a failure of IT. It's a failure of processes. The infrastructure is not there to operate the airline and the complexities of our airline today.
Do you think that this is going to tarnish Southwest's image and its future as an airline? Is this going to have a lasting effect of any kind?
It absolutely is. You can't displace and harm in an emotional sense our customers and the tens of thousands of customers that we displaced without it affecting your business model.
I've heard from several people that Southwest Airlines might have more flights than other airlines. I'm not sure if that's true, but if it is that playing any sort of role in this?
Well, there's a complexity to our network, and we do operate more domestically than any other airline. And we have a point-to-point system, so it is quite complex. And recovery from events is challenging for us. But again, this storm that the Southwest is blaming this on was foreseen. We operate in Denver with United with about the same number of flights, and United weathered it okay. So this was a failure of leadership and a failure of preparation.
Is there a pilot shortage or a problem finding pilots?
Well, that is an issue, and it's becoming more acute as time goes on. But we started this with enough pilots to operate the airline, and we have every day for the past year. I mean, all of our pilots are in place. All of our pilots are there. They're hiring, they're growing, they're adding flights, but the pilots are there. It's just the processes when things start to go wrong, and you see this spiral out of control.
And I spoke to another pilot who did say that this has kind of been building for a while, it seems. Is that how you feel about it?
Absolutely. We have tried and tried to correct some of these incorrect processes for years. We've even built them into a contract we're currently negotiating because we've seen the effects of these failures and these continued failures. So we've been warning against this. I've been on the news numerous times over the past 20 months dealing with this same issue.
We're seeing a lot of the images showing all of these bags that are just in the airport here. People are kind of saying, I'm done. I don't want to look through all of this. I don't know where my baggage is, and they're just leaving it behind. In your experience, have you ever seen anything like this?
I've never seen anything to this magnitude. And going back 21 years to September 11th is really as close as we've come to something, to almost shutting the airline down. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to our passengers. I mean, just what we're seeing on screen right now is unacceptable.
Do you think that the fact that you did have this major storm, it was historic and it's being called a once-in-a-generation storm, is that enough to, I guess, make up for what did happen? Is it enough to say, okay, well, it's not Southwest's fault because this storm was so big?
Well, as I said previously, United seemed to deal with it just fine. Delta has hubs in both Minneapolis and Detroit. The temperatures were lower, there was more precipitation and more wind, and they did fine. This was a failure of Southwest Airlines, period.
Have you been able to speak with anyone high up in Southwest since all of this has unfolded?
I have not spoken to Bob Jordan yet. I've not spoken to our COO, Andrew Watterson, yet. They've not reached out to me. I have spoken to my direct boss, but really that's just telling me what's going on as far as recovery plan. But we've been trying to address these issues for years, and each time, I say it can't get worse, and it does. And so I'm not sure what it's going to take to get them to change.
What effect, because we talked about the fact that this can, in the long run, have an effect on a pilot's livelihood. How does this impact, I guess, other employees here? Because it's not just pilots. We're talking about travelers who are impacted, flight attendants, I would say, pilots, just about everyone, right?
Well, it is. It's everyone. We're not given the tools to do our jobs. And so all frontline employees are struggling with the same issues. We're having issues with, on the ramp with our ramp agents. The airline wasn't prepared for the Denver weather. Belt loaders, tugs weren't prepared properly for the cold weather. They wouldn't start de-ice equipment, so they weren't given the tools. Our airplanes didn't have engine covers. They weren't. The APUs did not run, which was a money-saving decision that was made. That the airplanes were cold soaked. We had a water freeze in the airplanes, potable water. So none of the employees are really given the tools to do their job. And again, it's a leadership failure.
So you kind of already touched on this, but what happens next? Does this get worse before it gets better? Is there a future for Southwest?
Well, there's going to have to be some sweeping changes. There's going to have to be some sweeping changes in management. There's going to have to be some sweeping changes in processes in IT. They're going to have to commit the money. They have plenty of money. 2 weeks ago, we were picketing on Wall Street because of our contract while they were reinstating dividends. $400 million worth of dividends were reinstated. That money can be put to use to make sure this doesn't happen. And that decision has to be made.
And like you said, your success is Southwest success and vice versa, right?
Yeah. We cannot succeed unless Southwest succeed. And that's what all of the employees at Southwest Airlines, it's what we've always done. We pride ourselves on that. But it's very disappointing and very disheartening to see what our airline has turned into.
Captain, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Is there anything else that you want to add before I let you go?
Well, I'll just add that, our pilots are there. They're trying to get our passengers from A to B. We're the most productive in the world. Our pilots will do whatever it takes to get our passengers from A to B. We just need some support from the company.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.